Hello, I hope you're doing great. Today, we are going to talk about how you can understand your users when you develop web apps. Now, before we continue, please remember to visit fairplaytube.pticostarica.com, hit the Buy Me a Coffee icon, and select a donation of your preference. This will allow us to keep the videos and projects free for you. Let's continue. Now, when you create web applications and you publish them on production, usually need users to start using that application, right? And you need to have ways to see if those applications are being used and which options are being used, which ones are not being used, all that kind of things. Now, there are multiple ways to do it. As with pretty much everything, you will have a lot of options. Now, one of the standard ways to do that is using providers like Google Analytics, right, which you can connect to your website or web application, and it will start getting information about the pages visited, the times, demographics, from which IP addresses or which locations, um, a lot of things like that. The device, if it was a mobile device, which browser the person was using, um, a lot of things like that. And that is really useful because then you can check if your pages are being used, right? You can also check in some of those solutions how long the user stayed on a specific page, right? So that makes sense, for example, in platforms like YouTube, for example, or any um, page where you need to have your users uh, staying in one page for a long period of time. So that actually comes really handy. Uh, you can also develop your own solution, which is not the best option because if you already have existing solution that has already been proven, it is better to use them. Now, in Fairplay 2, we implemented a custom solution because Fairplay 2 is also being used as a platform to teach software development. So we are doing a lot of things ourselves so we can teach people how or one of the ways to do it. It hasn't been fully tested, so it probably has bugs, right? And actually, there are functionality in here that I think has some bugs because the time elapsed at least because it was developed this not long ago, actually, this one of these days, right? So it hasn't been fully tested or QA, but you will see one way in which you can do it. So, what things you may need to have? So you need to track a couple of things. You need to have a system that tracks the page that your users are being visiting, right? The time, the IP address, right? In the case of Fairplay 2, we are also showing the name of the video that was visited in case of the URL, in case the URL is one of the video details, right? And we track the time elapsed. So if this time is actually okay, it means that for this video, the person stayed in there only 1 minute, right? Now, why that person only stayed in there 1 minute? It could be that the video only lasts 1 minute, which actually I will need to add in here the video duration. Um, in here, if this is okay, the person actually stayed in there 16 minutes, right? So if the person stayed in there 16 minutes, it probably means that the person was really interested in the video, or I have a bug, right? Or the person just stayed in the page but wasn't looking at the computer, right? There are a couple of things that you could see in there, because at the moment I am not tracking, for example, things like if the user stop movement, stop tracking the time, right, and things like that. So uh, we are not tracking the time of activity. We are only tracking like from when that page was initially visited until the person um, pretty much left. Um, and this is a timer running every 60 seconds. So if the person stayed in the page less than 1 minute, that won't be shown in here. Okay, let's see. The other thing that you can do is you can take advantage of other cool features in, or one of the cool features that you will find in Microsoft. Microsoft has a system or platform named Microsoft Clarity. Microsoft Clarity basically allows you to understand how your pages are being used, but it has a really cool feature. It actually takes screenshots of how your users interacted in your page, how the mouse moved, and you can see pretty much the common user flows, like how they went from one option to other option, where they click. So that comes really handy. So you can optimize your UI based on how your users are trying to use your application. So you will see in here, I have we have these recordings. These are actually the recordings for Fair Play 2. So you can see in here this person in here stayed in this page uh, 29 seconds, right? It only visited one page, and it was on November 4th, and it was from Spain on a mobile device. Now it says it was on November 4th at 1:49 p.m. So you can go and see and check in here. So let's see. I can check by the ID of the video, which is C8 and ends in B1. C8 and ends in B1. So I track it and it was only 1 minute in here, right? So there may be an issue in there, or this I don't know how often Microsoft Clarity does the checks, right? Now, but I know it is here. This time is in UTC, and this time I believe it's my local time. Now, you can click in here and you will see a cool thing. You will see that you can play in here and it will take you to see how the user interacted on the page, right? So that user entered the page, it, he did a, or he or she did a couple of clicks, right? And apparently after that left the page. Now I see that nothing is loading in here, so probably the system took too long or something happened for that user. We can go to other places, and you see in here we have this from United Kingdom, and this was a visit to the video 809, which ends on DB. 809, which ends on DB. It says implement visitors tracking in Blazor, and apparently that person, according to the Fair Play 2 analytics, that person stayed 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 31 seconds. So it says that the person stayed in here 5 minutes and 59 seconds. Now, I don't know how long, like um, what's the maximum tracking time on Microsoft Clarity. But you will see that at least in here, I see no activity. So that may be one of the reasons why the why this one says that the person stayed in here 1 hour and 40 1 hour and 4 minutes because the person just entered the page and apparently did nothing or was just watching the video. It says that in here this person entered the page and it is actually the same video, but it says that the URL it has the Facebook click ID, so it actually came from Facebook, and the video ID is the one which ends on 76, and should be this one actually, and yeah, it's this one. And according to Fair Play 2, that person stayed in there 16 minutes and 21 seconds. And according to this, that person, this says like 5 and 35 uh, minutes. We can see some others around here. This one says 40 minutes and 12 seconds, I believe. So it says if this person visits keywords, so we can go in there. It is actually from Mexico, November 4th too, and we can play. Now you see that you see the mouse movement in here, how the person was actually doing everything. He closed the pop-up. Um, it's scrolling up and down. It's he went to the buy me a coffee. He expanded or moved to other place. I believe that person clicked the play video button, right? Now you can keep there is no activity in there. Now you see that here that person will do another click and we see where that click is going to happen. So let's see. Okay, that's move. Apparently went to another video or it's moving somewhere on there. It's navigating. That person click on the insights. So it's, I believe it is waiting to load. Sometimes you can configure um, you can configure Microsoft Clarity so it doesn't show a lot of private things, right? So those things are going to be removed from there. I believe that person may be looking at the video in here. In this place, you will be looking at the insights, right? See the person move the mouse and went somewhere around here. So when you do that kind of combination, you can start getting some insights on how your applications are being used, how long how long your pages are being visited, right? And you can see the mouse movement that will give you an idea of how to optimize your UI to put the most commonly used options closer to each other so the users can speed up their navigation, right? So this is one of the ways in which you can actually uh, understand your users. I hope this video has been useful and please remember visit fairplaytube.pticostarica.com, click the buy me a coffee icon, select an amount for your donation so you can so we can keep the videos and products free for you. Have a great day.